The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Welcome to Aging Horizons. On today's show, we'll have an excellent topic. We'll be talking about cultural humility. We have 11 Native American tribes in Montana that are on 7 reservations. And many times people might think that Native Americans are all the same. They believe the same things, they have the same ceremonies, and they have the same spirituality, but that's not correct. We'll discuss that and so much more, so stay tuned.
A decade of Montana 4th graders on Energy Share. When winter gets tough here in Montana, Lily Wallace knows who can help keep your home warm. Energy Share. That's right, says Livia Little. Energy Share wants to make sure that every Montanan stays warm, no matter how cold it gets outside. Thanks to Energy Share, we'll be cozy tonight. Energy Share is not a government program. It's neighbors helping neighbors who face energy emergencies the Montana way. Call or visit our website today. Energy Share is a good way to care.
Can you say ombudsman?
Ombudsman. Benson?
Uma Doodlesman? Fortunately, you don't have to say it right to get the help of a long-term care ombudsman. If you or a loved one reside in assisted living or long-term care, an ombudsman can help resolve any issue. And these services are completely free and confidential. Now, why don't you try that again?
Ombudsman.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
Here in Montana, we love our outdoor activities. Unfortunately, few of them are risk-free. Indeed, Montana is second in the nation per capita in head injuries that can destroy the lives of people we love. That's why you should insist your family always wear protective helmets. But you can do even more. When you fill out your vehicle registration this year, circle the Y and donate $1 to support traumatic brain injury prevention and education. Now that's using the old noggin.
Welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services Senior Long-Term Care Division. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and today we're speaking about cultural sensitivity, particularly as it applies to cultural humility. And we have 11 different tribes, Native American tribes in Montana, which are on 7 reservations. And one might assume that they're all the same, but they're not. They're quite a bit different. Joining us today is Lisa Watson-Whitford. You're the Chippewa Cree Senior Center Director. And first, welcome to the show. We got this far so good. And but let's talk about the cultural differences and what is cultural humility. That's a new term that a lot of us haven't heard before.
Okay, so cultural humility is basically, it's a fairly new term that's been, I just heard about it in the last 10 years or so. In a previous position, I worked at Benefis Health System as the American Indian Program Supervisor. I was asked to help with the new employee orientation. And that was where I heard the term cultural sensitivity, cultural humility. And the way they explained it to me, and then I just, went on looking, researching and learning more about it, but to teach not only non-natives, but there's natives also in our world who don't understand a lot about Native American culture. A lot of our urban Indians, they want to learn and they want to know. So I would prefer cultural sensitivity to help non-natives and those who want to learn more about our culture, and like you said, how unique we all are as an individual tribe. In Montana here we have our, like you said, 11 different tribes, 7 reservations. Each tribe is unique as far as language, culture, traditions. We don't all speak our language. That's one of the sad things that's happening, is we're losing our language. But we're desperately trying to get it back and learn it, and hopefully, by those of us who continue to push cultural sensitivity, teach about cultural humility, or try to help others with cultural humility, we can bring all of that back, or help those who don't know anything about it or know little about it, help them to better understand that we are all, like I said, unique according to our tribes.
And what are maybe some of the top points you might say that people misunderstand about Native Americans?
One of them is, again, like our language. I've been asked several times, do you all understand each other? No, we don't. There's a few who may have learned more than one tribal language, especially if their parents are from different tribes. Their parents may have taught them, or maybe a spouse learned their spouse's tribal language. The other one is religion, praying. That's another one. We have a lot of ceremony, and I know there's a lot of misunderstanding as to why we do what we do. There's, I've got some stuff that I share to help. It helped me growing up to understand that we all pray to the same higher being, and we just have different names, we have different ways that we pray, but we're all praying to the same deity or higher being.
Yeah. We just recently had a powwow here in Helena, where I'm from, and it was really interesting, all the different tribes that come together for a powwow. And on one hand we say how unique and separate each one is, yet you all come together, right?
Yes, we all, we share that part of our culture, the dancing, singing, even those, if you knew to pay attention, they're the songs. To some they may all sound alike, but there's languages spoken in those, some of them songs. Some of them are, they don't say words in the songs, but you could tell if you really listen, and I guess someone a singer would understand.
Yes.
Oh, that's that tribe's song, or that's that tribe's song.
Yeah. But what I like is, but you all come together, you all dance together, and I'll say you share, I'd say, a lot of commonalities, but you're also saying that you are each unique, too.
Yes.
And that's fascinating.
Yeah. And powwows have been around for, as long as we've been around, I guess. Yeah. And they're just becoming more and more commercialized, I guess you could say. There's not too many traditional powwows, meaning there's not a lot of money. Yeah. Not too many powwows where there's not a lot of money put into it. So. Yeah. But yes, we do share that, and that's probably one of the best things we share.
Well, that's great. And I imagine there's a lot of commonality once you get together, that is in the sharing and everything that you do.
Yes. All the different dance categories. I don't know if you noticed all of that. There's different dance categories. So everyone dances the same for that category, but according to their tribe, they may have their outfits may be a little bit different.
A little bit different. Okay. I think we're always coming back to saying we're all different, but we're all the same.
Yeah.
Which I really enjoy. Well, now we're going to continue in a discussion about cultural humility or sensitivity, how to better understand the people that are amongst us, whether they're Indian or not. So stay tuned.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
You mean I can get help paying my prescription drug premiums?
Let me get this straight. I could be eligible for help with my family's prescription premiums even though I own my own home?
And our assets won't be counted.
If you're a Montana resident enrolled in the Medicare prescription drug program, you could be eligible for help paying your premiums. Call or visit the Big Sky RX website today to find out, even if you think you're over income.
What do you know about that? I'm eligible.
When I found out it was diabetes, my first thought was, Barb, you need help. You have to take control of this. There is help. My doctor gave me a phone number. I called and signed up with a diabetes educator. There is help. I have to put blinders on when I walk past the bakery counter. I can feel my blood sugar go up. You succeed a little at a time. If you have diabetes, help is available. You do not have to do it alone.
Ask your doctor about diabetes education or visit montana211.org.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're continuing our discussion about cultural humility as how we talk about Native Americans and what they believe, and maybe the non-natives, what they believe and how they can be integrated. Rejoining us is Lisa Whitlatch.
Watson Whitford.
Whitford. And you have a story in that you're a Christian, but also being a Native American, that you were able to put the two together. Tell us more about that.
Okay, I've shared this with several others. As I mentioned before, I helped do the cultural sensitivity training for new employees at Benefice Health System several years ago, and one of the things I shared there, and I've shared it a lot since then, I'm a baptized Lutheran, and growing up, I grew up with my paternal grandmother, just followed her all over the place. So she took me to ceremonies on our reservation, on the Rocky Boys reservation. So I grew up, and she was also a baptized Lutheran. So we would go to church on Sundays and participated in, all the different events at the Lutheran church. And then we would go to ceremonies, at other times. And I was about maybe 6 or 7, and I don't know what made me wonder, but I wondered, well, I know when we go to Lutheran church, I'm learning about Jesus Christ and, the Holy Spirit, and so because I understand now that because I didn't understand our Cree language, which is spoken in all of our ceremonies, I didn't understand who we prayed to in our ceremonies. I mean, I knew who I was praying to. Mm-hmm. And so one time we were in it's the most important, all of our ceremonies are important, but our sun dance is, it's one of our biggest ceremonies. And I was maybe about 8-9 years old. I was sitting in the lodge with my grandmother, and they were singing, and right in the middle of the song I heard them say Jesus Christ. And that caught, as a little girl, that caught my attention, and I looked up, and I thought, oh, okay, and I put 2 and 2 together, and so I grew up knowing that we all pray to the same higher being, whether we're native or non-native. We have different names, we have different ways because of our uniqueness. We have different ceremonies, and Christianity, they have the Catholic, the Lutheran, all the different churches, and then we have our cultural churches that we go to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, I was thinking many roads lead to Rome and many roads lead to God.
Yes.
You know, there are a lot of different paths in which to pursue that. But I wonder, though, when you were talking about cultural sensitivity, outside the Native American group, is there some resistance to Native American spirituality, or is there acceptance of it, or maybe we just don't understand it, it's something unknown?
I think I've seen both, seen it go both ways. I've heard criticism from non-natives as a child about our ceremonies and how we pray.
Yeah.
Then I've heard criticism from natives about Christianity.
Yeah.
But I grew up knowing that we pray to we all pray to the same being, and
yes.
So yeah, I've seen it come from both sides.
Great. Well, too, Native American dress, I mean, it's got a great style to it, I'll say. Mm-hmm. And I think there are people that are kind of, that they want to wear it, they don't want to wear it, or it identifies them as Indians, it does not identify them. How about the unique style? What can you comment on that?
think right now, like in today's world, what I've seen and experienced, most Native Americans or American Indians, whatever we choose to call ourselves, we like to dress to show our culture and our traditions. Mm-hmm. I myself have not met too many people who don't want to dress that way because they're ashamed, or
right, yeah,
so I think it's more accepted in today's world.
It's great, because I've seen some designers, Native American designers, that are designing some wonderful clothes, and I go, man, that is very nice.
Yes.
But is that Native American, or is that kind of becoming Western style, or?
I think because they work together, they can go either way.
Yeah.
They could apply it to culture and tradition, or if they're going to a fashion show, they're ready for that. So.
Well, there's some, I guess, dressing rules that when Native Americans are together, that they wear the ceremonial regalia.
Well, like for powwows, you mentioned the powwow, the Helena powwow. At any powwow, depending on which style they dance, they're going to have a different outfit, different style of dress. Now, as far as ceremonies, for our culture, for the Chippewa Cree, it's recommended, or a lot of times it's required, that women wear kind of how I'm dressed now. We don't go in wearing, basketball trunks and a tank top, or we're not supposed to go in wearing jeans, and they always tell us, dress up, because the one above us that's who we're coming before.
Okay, so your dress shows respect for your religion and your tribe and your fellow tribal members, which I find fascinating. I love these discussions because I don't know that much, to be honest, and I'm learning from you, and our viewers are learning too, and it's such a rich culture. There's so much to learn. We have another segment. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Respite care is amazing. If you are capable of doing it, the rewards are beyond measure.
Stephanie Young, respite care provider, on the unexpected benefits of helping people in need.
Being a respite care provider is an amazing experience. It's something that what you give, you get back 100-fold. You receive so much more than you could ever imagine.
To find out how to change lives, including your own, go to respite.mt.gov.
I think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
Welcome back to Aging Horizons. I'm your host, Brian Lamore, and we're continuing our discussion about cultural sensitivity. And one of the important things with Lisa Watson-Whitford is you're trying to bring your culture back, or bring it back up and return it. Could you tell us more about how the buffalo is so important to that?
Okay, thank you. Not really bringing our culture back, we're trying to save our culture. And one of the ways I've seen on all of the reservations in Montana, and it's probably like this all over the world, one of them is bringing our buffalo back. Our reservation, which is the smallest reservation in Montana, Rocky Boy, we just recently was able to get a herd of buffalo, a small herd of buffalo. It's on our reservation. We have a caretaker. They built, the high fence and everything to keep them in. And I think like I said, all of the reservations do have buffalo herds now. Hopefully within, as time goes, those who are helping to bring the buffalo back and save that aspect of our culture, we could teach our children going forward how to take care of them and what they can do for us, how they can provide for us in life. There's a lot that buffalo provided for our ancestors, and I know there's high hopes that our leaders can help to bring that back, or to save that little part of what we have left of that in our culture, and continue to work with our buffalo, I guess, so they can help us in life.
And the buffalo is a major part of your spirituality, right? That it's important to have the buffalo because your spirituality is tied in with them?
Yes, and like I said, our ancestors they always, I've always heard every part of the buffalo was used. Nothing went to waste. So hopefully, like I said, going forward, our tribal leaders and what elders we have left, our caretakers of the buffalo, can teach and show our children and all of the rest of us what we need to do to protect them and keep them home on our reservation, to continue to provide for us and we could provide for them.
Now, off camera, you mentioned that your son was recently honored in that he was participating in a buffalo hunt?
Oh, I have my youngest son, Gary Whitford. He sits on the Chippewa Cree Buffalo Board, and last week was Native American Week all over. Yeah. So on all of the reservations, they had different activities and events, ceremonies. And on our reservation, they had a kill one day, a buffalo kill, and it was really amazing to see. There was a ceremony done prior to this happening, the ceremony that went with this. And the buffalo came out of the herd, and it was really, you have to see it to see how amazing it was that, that buffalo came out, and it was just something that was meant to be. Yeah. And, they cut it up, they're fixing the hide, and they shared with as many people as they could on the reservation. Yeah. They cut the meat up, and like I said, they don't waste any part of it.
Right. Yeah. So we're talking about cultural humility, and we're drawn to a close on our third segment. What is maybe one or two topics that you'd like our viewers to remember about that humility?
I guess one of them, I was just asked, what do we prefer to be called? Indian, Native American, American Indian. To me, I prefer either Native American or American Indian. And I think it's, in that part, it's the tone or in the way you say it. Being respectful in everything that we do, or everything we try to teach our children, be respectful to everybody in life. So we just would like that in return. And we'll share with anyone who asks. We'd be glad to share. I think most tribes, if it's done in a respectful way, the request to share anything, we will share.
We'll share. Well, you've come to the Governor's Conference on Aging, and you are a major presenter here, so you shared with us, and we really appreciate that. And plus, you're sharing with us now, which is absolutely wonderful. I mean, there's so much for us to learn about our 11 different tribes on 7 different reservations. As I know, in the front of the Capitol they have the Native American flags. Is there a particular sequence or order they put those in, or is there an appropriate order?
I've seen that, but I don't know if they're in a certain sequence. I do know that our Rocky Boy Reservation is the smallest in Montana, and it was the last reservation that was formed.
Was established?
Established
quite a while ago, huh?
And gosh, I want to say 1916.
Wow.
It was a long time ago, but I don't remember the exact
date.
Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't recent. So we've been talking about cultural humility or sensitivity. In Montana, our largest culture is Native Americans. Again, we mentioned we have 11 tribes on 7 reservations. So we live with them. We can go to the tribes, we can visit them, but you say with respect, you can ask them just about anything, but maybe plan ahead of time and respect their beliefs, respect where they are, and respect what they do, and they will in turn respect you. So thank you for joining us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.